Hey everyone, thank you for joining our coffee hour in May here. Today is May 10th, 2021. May 10th is actually a special day for me. It's actually my dog's birthday. Romeo is 14 years old today, so look forward to taking him out to the park and having some fun. But again, it's good to just see everyone virtually here. It's not the same as doing this in person. I really hope that we can return to those days soon. But again, we have quite a few things to go over today. And we hope that you find these coffee hours resourceful, but we are broadcasting all over social media right now. So we're on our YouTube channel, on Facebook, on Twitter, and I believe a couple other platforms. And so hopefully you guys can just hear us. If you're having any issues, please feel free to leave those comments in the chat. In the chat of those respective platforms is also a registration link. Please just take 2 seconds to fill out that form. It helps us just keep track of who's joining, and also has a couple questions on what timings work for everyone, just so we're making sure that we are maximizing the timings and dates of these coffee hours going into the future to make sure that we can get as many people covered as possible. But again, we have quite a few things to go over. Before we kind of jump into the Lansing side of things, just wanted to talk about a couple things happening here in district. So first, I want to start out with our student advisory group. It is well underway now. I was blown away by the response. We had just so many high school students here in District 21 apply for the program. We were so happy to bring on just such a diverse young set of just future leaders. It is so inspiring for me every time I have one of these meetings. We've had quite a few with them now, and we've already covered a vast array of topics and just had great discussion. And so we just had our general body meeting a couple days ago, where we brought in some partners here just to facilitate some discussion on a day of service we're going to be doing. And prior to that, a couple of weeks ago, we had a really heavy conversation about gun violence and the role that has in our schools, and what people can do to stand up and advocate for better common sense gun laws. And so we brought on representatives of Students Demand Action, some school board members, and facilitated, like I said, just a really heavy discussion with just so many thoughtful questions. It's funny how it's all worked out, because the original intent of this whole student advisory group was to provide these students with just a platform for them to elevate their voices, just to understand how government works. But I have been just blown away by how much I'm learning, and just the perspective that is clearly missing in our political discourse, that's just happening locally and around the country. And so I think it's just imperative that we do elevate the voice of our younger community. And, the decisions we're making today are going to affect, these students more than they're going to affect us. And so it's been really inspiring for me just to kind of hear and learn from everyone. So we've had a number of meetings, and we're going to be going through the summer. We're going to be doing things in the community. We're obviously, everything's been virtual. We're obviously being extremely mindful of the COVID situation. But I'm happy that a number of our members have gotten vaccinated and are choosing to, and some of them are just waiting for their turn. But once we're at a point where we know it's safe, we look forward to kind of joining in person and seeing what we can do with just such a large group of young, motivated students. I'm just really looking forward to what we can do in the community here. A couple other things locally. On the note of COVID, some good news: cases are trending down. Michigan has been in the news for the wrong reasons, unfortunately, with COVID, with cases kind of going up for a while there. But, it seems that we've peaked and are on the way down. Let's hope that trend continues. And that's only going to continue as more people become vaccinated and continue to follow CDC guidelines. There are some updates on the CDC guidelines as well. And so I urge everyone to kind of explore those and just fully understand what is considered best practice and not. But if you are fully vaccinated and have passed that 2-week threshold, there's a number of activities that the CDC has said that are now safe to resume. And so that's great. But here in District 21, we are seeing a downturn in cases that makes me happier than most other things. That's just a tremendous priority for us here. And so it is great to see kind of cases trending down, both locally here in District 21, but then also broadly speaking in the state of Michigan. Also some news today, unfortunately, right now, as I'm having this coffee hour, the new 34th Circuit Court is being opened up. And so I am sad to be missing that grand opening, so to speak. But I know the judges out there are going to be doing a tremendous job. And so I just wish everyone the best. And I apologize for not being able to attend. And so with that, kind of getting into the Lansing side of things, we just passed a couple weeks ago my first 100 days in office. I am extremely happy with just how active our office was able to be in these 100 days. There is just a tremendous learning curve here. I mean, changing careers, and there's just honestly so much to learn. It's jokingly, but half true. There's just so much thrown at you, especially in this political cycle right now. Just with obviously the hyper partisanship that exists, the COVID pandemic, the security issues we had in the early part of the term. There was just a lot thrown at our entire office. And so our team has been working hard every single day. And so we were able to put together a strong body of work in just our first 100 days. So I was happy about that. Just some kind of fun statistics. We sponsored and co-sponsored over 120 bills. And so I was just happy to be a part of just a number of pieces of legislation that were introduced. Our office has had over 700 conversations within District 21, just helping provide answers to a broad array of questions that we receive, a lot of those being unemployment related, and those claims are, they do take a lot of time and a lot of research. And so it's just a testament to the entire team of District 21 and the work that they're putting into making sure that people and constituents can have their claims, answered as quickly as possible. A lot of people, unfortunately, are extremely frustrated with just the time it takes. But please know that our office is turning these around as quickly as possible. Unfortunately, when we do receive all the information that's needed, we pass it on to the unemployment office where it is processed there. And so we kind of lose track when it enters that black hole, so to speak. But, we are doing our best to get any claim that comes in over to the UIA office as quickly as possible. And so just thank you to Hannah and Ashley and all of our interns for everything that they're doing to facilitate those conversations. We've sent out dozens of congratulatory letters and tributes to members of our community. For March is Reading Month a couple months ago. Unfortunately, in years past without COVID, I'd be scrambling around to as many elementary schools as I possibly could in the district to read. But this year, unfortunately, that wasn't possible. Schools were had made the prudent decision of not allowing me or anyone else that wasn't essential into schools. So we did a lot of virtual readings. We were able to read to hundreds of students, largely third grade classes around the district. It was just really inspiring to be able to do that. I laugh because I'd go through the reading of the book, and then afterwards we'd open it up for Q&A, and the questions that were asked by these third and fourth graders were hysterical. And so I had a lot of fun doing that. Look forward to it to the next time we're able to do that. We've hosted a number of these coffee hours and joined a number of panels and just kind of other speaking opportunities here locally. One thing our office wants to do is prove to just be very accessible. And so, I believe contact details are actually up in the corner here, but feel free to reach out to our office. I know we sound like a broken record when I say this, but we truly read through every single piece of communication that comes into our office, and so we respond as quickly as we can, and all of the advocacy absolutely goes into decisions we make. And so just thank you to everyone for reaching out. That has been great. Most importantly, we've had 100% attendance record. I've been to every session day and every single committee meeting that I'm part of. And so it's, I campaigned on it, but I'm going to work tirelessly and make sure that I show up every single day for House District 21. And so it's been, I've been great and fortunate to stay healthy, to be able to get up to Lansing every single day. And so that's something I hope to continue in my turn. But obviously, also just happy and thankful for all of the support throughout the district. So just thank you to everyone who has been reaching out to our office with your questions and concerns and thoughts. And so please continue to do that. But a little bit more into what's happening in Lansing and kind of current events. Right now, it's budget season. The first few months of any of the term are considered budget season, so we'll probably be in "quote unquote" budget season until middle to late June. So, just at a high level of where we're at in this cyclical process. Right now, the budget appropriations are being voted on at a committee level. And so individual committees have started voting out their recommendations for budgets. Remember that the House is controlled by the opposition party. And so the budgets that will come out, will have that lens on them. Members of the Democratic Party have offered amendments. Overwhelmingly, they have not been adopted. So there's still going to be a level of negotiation after they're voted out of the committee level. They do go to the House floor for vote. And so, I do look forward to kind of seeing what is coming out of the committee level and appropriations. But, the focus here has to remain strong on our values, right? Like we can never forget the effect that the pandemic has had. And so we need to continue championing working families, small businesses, schools. We need to ensure that they're getting the support that they need. And so COVID has obviously made very complex situations even more complex. And so, as we kind of fight through our budget here, we need to remember our priorities. And we need to be making sure that we are leaving the political theater and discourse out of the budget and doing what's best for all Michiganders. And so that will be kind of the lens that I take when we have budget conversations that move when they progress to the general floor. And so, as a quick reminder to everyone, when you join as a legislator, largely there's two paths that you can follow. You can join the appropriation side, where you will have a larger say in some of these appropriations conversations up front or at the committee level, or you can join the policy side, which is a side that I've kind of pursuing right now. And so, I'm on the Transportation Committee, the Agriculture Committee, and the Energy Committee. And so kind of all policy and legislation that's headed in that space will be dealt with those committees. And so you just have a larger voice on the policy side. But ultimately, everyone obviously gets a chance to work on everything. And so right now, as I mentioned, the budget's still kind of at the committee level, but that should be coming to the floor soon. But, another thing that's kind of been in the news recently is the topic of vaccine passports. So I'm not even sure how this has all happened. There's just a tremendous amount of false information that's floating out there. We even had this just really rough committee meeting a week or two ago on that space, but there is really no one in Michigan. There's not an entity in Lansing that is pursuing vaccine passports at this time. I've not heard of anything, but there is just this myth, for lack of a better word, that people are fixated on, that we have, that we're pushing these vaccine passports, and that we're going to be taking away people's rights. And as I mentioned, there was a legislative hearing in Oversight Committee last week on vaccine passports and the need to ban them. But again, they don't even exist. And so I'm not sure why we're talking about the need to ban anything and wasting the tax dollars of Michiganders to have these conversations. It's just, it's really, I don't know. I don't think it's the most optimal use of our time or resources. I think we are pandering to just conspiracy theorists. And so those testifying in committee made comparisons of COVID and the vaccine to the concept of just the Holocaust. They compared this passport here to Nazis, and it was just incredibly appalling, the discourse that was happening. I was not at the committee meeting personally. I did watch a video of it, but it was, again, just more political theater. The campaign chair was not letting committee members ask questions. And so the conversation could not be kind of redirected to anything that was relevant. It was just a forum for these conspiracy theorists to kind of just go off and talk about stuff that is not a concern at this point. But, we gave kind of the wrong individuals, in my opinion, a platform, and they took advantage of it. And so, I think I urge everyone, if you're watching and I'm not your state representative, I urge you to reach out to your state representative to let them know that, you are watching and that, you don't appreciate this use of time and resources in the legislature. There's a long kind of pattern establishing here, even dating back to last term, of what legislators' priorities are. And so we need to just kind of stay focused on the issues that matter here. And so I can't say it enough. Our families, our working families, our schools, our small businesses all need relief right now. And so that same time and energy that's being focused on conspiracy theories could be actually put to use to coming up with answers for the problems that do exist that are facing Michiganders. And so, again, just stay focused, pay attention to what's happening in Lansing. And then again, if there's any questions or something that's that you're following that's not clear, you can always reach out to our office. That's what we're there for, to help kind of provide some more guidance. Another, on the topic of Lansing and vaccines, another topic that's been in the news is the new Michigan Back to Normal plan. And so this was established about a week ago or so, where the governor's office and the team is putting out milestones, basically a threshold for how many people have been vaccinated, and if we reach each respective threshold, what as a state we can do. So the good news on this is that right now we're at roughly 54% of eligible 16 years and older adults in Michigan being vaccinated. There was a little bit of a discrepancy with that number up front. I shouldn't say discrepancy. There was a little bit of a misunderstanding with that number up front. It changed a little bit because I believe the initial number did not include out-of-state Michiganders who left Michigan to get vaccinated and came back or went to a federal facility. And so that number, this 54%, now includes all of those. And so it should be a fairly exhaustive list of who is vaccinated here in Michigan. We're at 54%. And the reason I keep harping on that number is because the first threshold level is 55%. So what's been decided here is that when we are at when 55% of Michiganders who are 16 years and older are vaccinated, and then post 2 weeks, we will be able to open up workplace and business settings. And so we can kind of start getting back to normal, in that sense of the world. And then, as I said, there's just a number of tiers. And so the next one then would be an additional 5%. So when 60% of Michiganders, eligible Michiganders, which is roughly 4.8 million people, plus the 2 week after the vaccination, we'll be able to open up indoor sports stadiums to 25%, indoor capacity at conference centers or banquet halls. We get a lot of emails. So I know this particular point, I think, is just information that a lot of people are seeking. But when we're at 60% vaccination, we'll be able to open up banquet halls to 25% capacity, gyms and exercise facilities to 50%. and will lift the curfew on restaurants and bars. And so, this is, I just think, a win-win for everybody. The reality of the situation is that we need to get as many people vaccinated as possible. And the other reality is that all of us, regardless of political party, want to get back to normal. And so this is just a very responsible way in which we can achieve everyone's goals. And so if you're not vaccinated, I strongly urge you to consider getting vaccinated if you're able to. I am fortunate enough to have received both shots, and I'm encouraging everyone that I know. And so there's a couple more threshold levels. There's a 65%, which would then be 5.2 million residents. And so it's 65% of people who've been vaccinated plus the 2-week period of waiting. At that point, we're going to lift all indoor capacity limits. And so all social gatherings would be pretty much just be further relaxed at a minimum. And then the last and kind of highest tier would then be 70% of Michiganders. So that's getting close to about 5.7 million Michiganders. And then that lifts the gathering and face mask orders that the MDHHS has put out. And so, at that point, we will be getting to, we'll be having a strong portion of our state vaccinated and getting closer to that herd immunity status. And so, again, I'm not a public health expert. And so it's important that I kind of put that disclosure out there. But, just from everything that I read, the virus is going to be in our lives for a long time. And so the quickest way to kind of get things back to normal, so to speak, again, is to just get as many people vaccinated as possible. Early on, there was a number of frustrations on kind of supply related issues, but those have seemed to be rectified. We have a strong capacity and rollout infrastructure built up here in Michigan. And so, really, from what my understanding is, largely speaking, is that if you want a vaccine, they are readily available in most places, especially around House District 21. And so, and I know the state is working hard to ensure that anyone who wants a vaccine has access to one, but we're awfully close. And so things are going well. It's just now just kind of getting anyone who's on the fence or just anyone who hasn't gotten one, making sure that we are doing whatever we can to provide people access to those vaccines. There's a number of programs here actually locally. Wayne County put out some information. We'll be sure to drop that contact information in the link. But if you are immobile or not able to leave your home for whatever reason, they can bring a vaccine to you. And so this has already helped a handful of people that I know personally. And so there's a lot of programs out there making sure that we're getting as many people vaccinated as possible. And so again, feel free to reach out to your office if you can't find any of this information. But to find a vaccine near you, you can always visit michigan.gov /COVID vaccine. That's michigan.gov /COVID vaccine. And again, that will also be put into the chat as well. And to make sure that we, again, are just making this as accessible as possible to as many people in Michigan as possible. If you're having any questions regarding the vaccines, please feel free to reach out to our office. And that contact information should also be in the chat. Like I said, we have a number of things that we're getting through here. And so the other thing here is the unemployment update. So, this has obviously been probably the most common questions that we receive. I feel like we probably get dozens of these every day. And so our office spends a tremendous amount of time just kind of working through unemployment claims. And so the big update here is that work search requirements are going to be returning in the coming weeks. And so what that kind of means at a high level is that you have to establish that you are actively seeking work. If you are unemployed and receiving unemployment benefits, you have to demonstrate that you're actively searching for new employment. And so that was waived during the height of the pandemic up until now, I believe. But pre-pandemic, this is something that existed for as long as I can remember. These will be coming in the next couple of weeks, again, this requirement. And so really, what you need to do is, again, just demonstrate. There's a number of ways you can do that. You can just demonstrate that you're applying for jobs online, you're participating in virtual job fairs or employment workshops, you're searching for job listings on sites such as LinkedIn or MI Talent. But you're going to be asked for kind of how and when you applied for this position. You're going to be asked for the company's contact information in case that needs to be verified. These work search activities can be entered at the time that you are certifying your unemployment claim. And so without doing this is a required step. And so without doing this, your certification will not be complete. So just making sure that you understand kind of what's required of you as you are applying and certifying the benefits of which you are owed. Also, on the unemployment front, there was a Curtis self-close email which was sent. So if you reached out to our office prior to March 1st asking for assistance with your UIA case, you should have received an email last week from the UIA office confirming that you still need assistance with your case. Now, if you no longer need assistance with your case, we ask that you just click the link provided so that you can be removed from the queue, allowing the UIA to move kind of more quickly and assist for other claimants. Because kind of the big problem that we're having here is that the UI system is overloaded. That's why it just takes weeks, if not months, for everything to be processed. And so, again, if you're not in need of that, just click the link, remove yourself from the queue. So one, you can stop receiving annoying emails, but two, we can kind of help make this run a little bit more efficiently for everybody else who needs it. But if you're still in need of assistance, not a problem. Just disregard the email, and you'll keep your place in the queue, and then they'll keep kind of sending you updates as needed. But it was just more of kind of a house cleaning to try to get the system cleaned up. And if you still need more assistance with your unemployment claim, my staff here and team will post a link in the chat, and you can contact my office. A lot of people call our office or email our office, and majority of them are forwarded to the same form. And so you can make the process a little bit quicker for yourself if you're able to just kind of fill out this form and save that step. But obviously, if there's an exception or a situation that in which you need more assistance, feel free to just call or contact our office, and we'd love to kind of help facilitate that process. So that was kind of a lot that we ran through pretty quick. And then just again, kind of running through last minute items here. If you do have any questions, please feel free to type those into the chat, and we'd love to go over those. If not, a lot of people like to email them, and feel free to email us, and we would kind of get a chance to research and provide those answers to you. And then as far as kind of upcoming events here, again, as I said in the beginning, we are being as mindful as we possibly can of the COVID pandemic. Even though cases have taken a downturn, we're still going to play it pretty safe here, and not do anything in person just until we feel that there's just kind of safety across the board. The virtual platform, although it's not perfect, has made it easier for a number of constituents just to kind of join on. But don't get me wrong, as soon as we're able to, we'll also have an in-person option. I have just missed having that dialogue and communication with so many of you across the district. And so I look forward to kind of being able to do that. We've not actually had our first official in-person coffee hour yet. And so those are extremely popular. And I honestly am just really excited for the opportunity to do that with everyone. And so we will keep everyone posted. Again, another shameless plug, if you are not receiving our bi-weekly e-news update, it comes in the form of an email. Please sign up for that. You can go to housedems.com/Puri, housedems.com/Puri, and you can sign up there. It just takes a couple seconds to sign up for that. Our team puts a tremendous amount of effort into just incorporating all the local activity and news and updates that are coming out at the local and state level into that update. And so it's just a good resource for information for what's happening. And we cover a wide range in topics there. And then you don't need to listen to me ramble for a half an hour. So it's just another way to consume some information and stay up to date with what's happening. Yeah, and again, we will kind of keep everyone updated as information comes out. We'll move to some questions if there are any right now. I know we're doing this over lunch period, so it may work for some and not others. But again, if you can, fill out the form that's in the chat and just let us know what times work, and then we will adjust the timings of these coffee hours accordingly. But that was kind of just kind of what's happening in recent weeks at a high level in Lansing. And so with that, we'll check if there's any questions. And if not, there's no need to keep anyone here. So I will bring on one of my teammates in Hannah and just kind of see where we're at with the questions.
Hi, everyone. Great, lots of good information. I think that you covered a lot of, what people's questions might have been about, because it's what we're getting a lot of emails on in Lansing. It doesn't look like we have any questions at this time. So I think we might be good to wrap up. But again, like Rep. Puri said, if anyone has any questions or concerns on what might be going on in the budget or different legislation, if you're following anything, we take time to respond to every single constituent that reaches out to the office. So you are always welcome to give us a call or send us an email if anything comes up, if you're able to watch back through the coffee hour.
Cool. Thank you, Hannah. I actually just received a question from Tom, a constituent here. He brought up a good question. He was asking the threshold levels in the back to normal plan. Is that all Michiganders or just eligible Michiganders? So it's not 55% of all Michiganders. It's 55% of eligible Michiganders. So as the CDC and the FDA end up approving vaccinations for lower ages, and so again, it's not in stone, but the rumor is that the next wave will be the 12 to 16 age. And so when those ages are eligible in Michigan, then our denominator will increase. And so we'll have to make sure that we get all those new people vaccinated as well to make sure that we're kind of staying at those levels. And so that's a good question. It's a kind of a nuance there, but it's the people who are eligible. But as Hannah mentioned, we are always here as a resource. And so please feel free to reach out if we can just help answer or facilitate any help in Lansing. But again, thanks for your time, everyone. And we will see you at our next coffee hour.